Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make these cards, you can visit my online store, and the link is in the description below. When you purchase Stampin' Up! Products through me, you can earn free products. Check out my current customer appreciation products on my blog, and the link is listed below in the description. So today I'd like to share with you another alternative project using the February 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Bouquet of Hope. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like to do an unboxing video, and I made the 3 original projects. The kit comes with everything you need to make those projects, and you get 3 of each card. And so what I like to do is take those supplies and create other cards with them and post them on here for you to see. If you're interested in watching the unboxing video or seeing my other alternative projects, you can click up here on the playlist in the top right corner. So today we're going to be making these 2 beautiful cards, and so let's go ahead and get started. Adventure awaits in next month's paper pumpkin kit. Here's to you. This kit includes 8 cards, 4 each of 2 designs, plus an added surprise worth celebrating, a set of 4 spectacular stencils, and a Stampin' Sponge. Don't miss it. Subscribe by March 10th using the link below. So let's go over really quickly the things you're going to need from the kit. You're going to need the Merlot card base. You will need, from yesterday, we cut up one of the Mossy Meadow envelopes, and there was a larger section left over. You'll need one of those. Yesterday, we also cut up the Gold Vellum frame, and we cut that into 4 pieces. 2 of them are 4 inches by 3/4 inches, and then the other 2 are just slightly smaller than that. And so we do have all 4 of that. We're going to use one of the large pieces for my second card, and then we'll use the 2 smaller pieces and one of the large pieces for our first card. So go ahead and put those off to the side. You'll also need one of the rectangle labels from the kit and one of the flower die cuts. Okay, so to get started, you're going to take that Merlot card base and you're going to cut it right along that score line, and that should be right at 4 1/4 inches. Next, you'll take the plain side and you'll rotate it and cut at 2 3/4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that because I do have one already that I can use, because you will have 2 of that shape after cutting this in half. So I do have that one already done. It looks like there's a little bit of pattern still on that piece, so I'm just going to slightly remove that so that I don't see that on my card. And then we're going to be using this at the full size. You will also need a piece of basic white cardstock. It's cut just slightly larger than the plain piece. So you can see here it gives us a nice border. So it's been cut to 2 7/8 inches by 4 3/8 inches. Then we're going to take this Mossy Meadow striped piece and we're going to cut it down to 1 by 4 inches. And then again, we have those gold pieces. So let's go ahead and start putting our card together. You're going to need a card base, and I'm using thick basic white cardstock, and it's just cut to your regular card base size, which is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches and scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half and then use my bone folder to make a nice crease. Then I'm going to add the pattern paper right to the front of that with some adhesive. And I have the Stampin' Seal Plus. Just adding a little in each corner and along the center. And then I'm just standing up my card base and just trying to line up all those edges before adding it. So you get a nice solid piece there. Next, we're going to take the Merry Merlot and we'll add it on top of our basic white. And we'll just place that so there's a little bit of border. I'm just going to put it over the darker paper so I can see the edge of our white. Just a nice thin border to help that stand out. Then we're going to take that 1 inch by 4 inch piece of Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use the Banner's Pick-a-Punch, and I'm going to flag the ends. So I'm just going to choose the shape that I want and slide it in. Make sure it fits in there nice, and then punch it and do the same to the other side. If you don't have this punch, you can just use a pair of paper snips to create that flag end on both sides. So before I add this to my card, I want to just do a little decorating, and then we'll add it with some dimensionals. So let's start with our gold pieces. You're going to find the taller piece, and that one's going to go in the center. You can add these with glue dots in the center of that vellum, and it should hold it pretty well. If you want to add more, you can always place them behind these gold floral elements. So just place it in the center. It doesn't need to be totally straight because we're kind of adding them a little bit at angles. And then take one of the smaller pieces and place that at a slight angle on one side, and then do the same for the other. So you'll get something that looks like this. Then we're going to add the Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus just to add a little bit of adhesive. And if you have a grid paper, this is a great place to use it because we want it to come across our piece nice and straight and centered. So I don't know, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm about 1.5 inches from the top. So it's about 1/2 inch on one side, and let's just slide it over just slightly so it's a little more even. Okay, so it's just a little less than 1/2 inch on both sides. Yeah. Okay. So it will look like that. And then we can go ahead and add this to the middle of our card base. And I'm going to use dimensionals. And one reason I didn't add it right at the beginning is because I wanted to place some dimensionals on those flag ends so that they're supported. Okay, and you'll notice that my Mossy Meadow is in the center, but it is just slightly high too. So it's not directly centered. And then you can line up your card just so that it's nice and level. And then you can kind of eyeball placing that right there in the center of your card base. Just make sure it's opening on the right side. Okay, so next let's do some stamping. So we are going to use the stamp that came in the paper pumpkin kit. And I really like this. I'll always be here for you. So I'm going to go ahead and place that on a clear block. And then ink it up with the Mossy Meadow ink that came in the kit. And then go ahead and stamp that in the center. So just Hover it above the label until you have it where you want it, and then go ahead and stamp with even pressure. And then this will be added with dimensionals. So before we do that, actually, I should add our flower. So go ahead and just place this flower however you want. I did do a fun little technique to get there a little bit of dimension here. So on one side, that's going to be away from the greeting. So I think I'm going to add it something like that. So this side here I want popped up, and this side I want to be stuck down. And so you can use a glue dot here. And again, I'll probably just use one from the roll. And remove the paper. And then you can go ahead and kind of find a spot for that flower. And it does tend to pull up this bottom gold piece. And so this is a great place to use a glue dot to just keep it tacked down. So grab that glue dot, find a place where it's kind of hidden behind those gold leaves, and then it will hold itself down there. Now we can add that greeting. So 2 dimensionals. And then you can just center that right in your card. So it'll look something like that. And then we'll add a couple of those black sequins. So maybe one down here and a couple at the top. And our card's all done. So this one I just love. I think it's got beautiful colors and that little bit of gold from the vellum. It's just a really pretty card. So let's go ahead and move on to card number 2. So this card uses, I really wanted to use the last piece of this gold vellum. It's just so pretty. And so I thought of making a wedding or a celebration card that's just got that really soft, simple look to it. So this greeting here I did get from a different stamp set. It is from the Happy Thoughts stamp set. This is new in the January through June mini catalog. It just has some really wonderful greetings, and you can see here that congratulations. So let's go ahead and start making this card. Okay, so to make this card, you just need a couple things. You'll need a basic white card base. Again, it's just cut to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. And then you'll need a piece of basic white cardstock, and it's been cut to 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. And that's just so that it will match up with the gold foil vellum. So you can see here that I did some pre-stamping and coloring. And so I just stamped the bouquet from the kit, this beautiful bouquet image. Let's see, it's kind of, there we go. So you can see that pretty bouquet, and just stamped it right there on the Mossy Meadow in like the top area of the basic white cardstock, and then added congratulations in Mossy Meadow near the bottom. So I did need to pull in some different colors here. And so I went to my Stampin' Spots from past paper pumpkin kits and found some coordinating colors, which I was really excited about. So we've got Rococo Rose and Merry Merlot. And I'm not sure exactly what kits these come from because I just kind of throw them all together when I'm done with them. But if you have had paper pumpkin kits in the past, you may have these 2 coordinating colors. And so what I'm doing is I'm using Mossy Meadow from this kit, and then these 2 colors along with a blender pen. And I really like blender pens because they give you that option of coloring without having to have a lot of different pens to match your projects, because all you need is the ink pad. So you do need to have a scrap piece of paper on hand. And I'm just going to place that underneath just for the cleaning of the brush. Okay, so I wanted to kind of just give you some quick tips on how I use the blender pen. So I'm going to start with the Mossy Meadow. And you're just going to pick one of the sides, make sure it's clean. So just by rubbing it on that scrap paper, you shouldn't have any color coming off. Even if it's stained, it should have no color. And then you can just pick up some ink right from the ink pad and then add it to your images. Now, another fun thing about the blender pen is that it always will start off dark and then it blends into a nice light color as that ink kind of dissipates. So just keep that in mind and start where you want to have like the shadows and then just kind of blend it into the highlights and lighter areas. Okay, so you can see there, those 3 leaves. I've got just a couple more I'm going to do. I'll go ahead and speed the video up a little bit. Okay, so I think that's all the leaves. And you can see how quick and easy it is, and you can always go back and add more color if you want something a little darker as well. So then when you're ready to clean your brush, you just wipe it on that scratch paper until the color runs clear. And then let's go to our next color, which is Rococo Rose. And we're just going to do the same thing here. So you're just going to pick up some color, and then I've added this color to all these little daisy flowers. And this time I'm kind of just patting the color into the petal. So it's a smaller space, so I don't have a lot of room to really make big brush strokes. So I'm just kind of, like I said, patting it in there. I'm bringing the color as close to the edge as I can without it touching too much of the edge of this stamped image, because sometimes blender pens will also pull the ink from the stamped image into the coloring area. And so you don't want to do too much over that line. Okay, so there's the Rococo Rose one, and I've left the center white, and that's just to keep it a nice clean look. And then go ahead and clean that with your scrap paper, and then let's work on the Mary Merlot. And these ones, I did the larger flowers, and I wanted that darker color near the bottom of the petal. So again, I'm kind of just patting it in there, starting with the dark area, and then it will lighten up along the tip of the petal. So you can see how fun it is to use the blender pen to create that shadow and highlight. And it's really beautiful and pretty easy to do. So I'm going to add Mary Merlot to this bow as well. And I'm going to start with, again, the dark colors. I'm going to kind of bring that to the front. And it's going to lighten up a little bit. And I'm not pressing hard. I'm really just being very light and gentle with the brush tip so that I can get a nice fine point on it. Okay, so that bow is all done. So now this image is ready to be added to our card. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that card base and score it with a bone folder. And then I kind of just want to place the flower greeting on my card just to get an idea of where I want to add this gold vellum foil piece. So I'm going to bring it over just a little bit. So possibly somewhere like that. So I'm going to add some glue dots to the back of my vellum. And just using my take a pick tool, just place it again behind some of those flower leaf elements. Just do maybe 3 or 4 just to hold it in place. Then remove that paper backing. And then you're going to add this just to the left of your flower. So make sure that's where you want it. And it's going to just go under just the slightest bit underneath that flower piece. Make sure it's nice and even. Okay, so press that down, and then we're going to add this with some dimensionals just to give it that little pop. So you're just going to place it slightly over that gold foil and then lay it down so it's nice and even. So you'll have something that looks like that. And then if you have any gold embellishments, you can add these as well. So I've got these, they're metallic pearls. They come in a gold and a silver finish. And I'm just going to use a couple of the gold ones and place them around the bouquet, just to add that little extra touch to my card. And that card is now all done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create these fun cards today. If you're interested in getting more information about Paper Pumpkin, you can click on the link in the description below. To see written instructions and close-up images of these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.